Hello, boxing fans around the world. Thanks for joining me once again here on Talkin Fight for another episode of Boxing News Headlines. Let's start off with kind of a combo here. We've got Steve Fulton, who's agreed to terms to fight Naoya Inoue. Steve Fulton has a record of 21-0, 8 knockouts. Inoue, he's 24-0, 21 knockouts. And they've agreed to fight in May. But we'll wait to see if that contract gets signed. Fulton, by the way, is the WBC, WBO super bantamweight champ at the moment. And his 222-pound titles will be on the line for the former 3-division world champion Inoue to try and win to become a 4-division champion. The belt-hungry 29-year-old Inoue is fresh off capturing the undisputed championship on December 13th at bantamweight, beating WBO champion Paul Butler by an 11th round knockout. Inoue has since given up the 4 belts and is looking to capture the belts at 122 to become the undisputed champion in that weight division. It could be more demanding for Inoue to duplicate that feat as super bantamweight because Fulton is unquestionably a better fighter than the 4 guys that the Japanese star defeated at 118 to become undisputed. So let's look forward to that fight. Hopefully it happens in May. It'll be a good one. Also in May, I just noticed that it looks like Devin Haney's going to go up against Vasily Lomachenko in May as well. So a couple of news items that are connected by their month. Coming up, we're going to see Chris Eubank Jr. Face former world welterweight champ Liam Smith in Manchester on Saturday. But the talk is of fighting Cedric Benn. Cedric Benn. I meant Conor Benn, not Cedric Benn from Talkin Fight. Conor Benn, yeah, bad boy boxing. Eubank, who has a record of 33-2 with 23 knockouts, was supposed to fight Benn in the non-title catchweight clash between the sons of 2 of Britain's most famous boxers in one of the biggest fights in the United Kingdom last year. But Benn, 21-0, tested positive for the female fertility drug clomiphene, which forced the fight to be canceled just 2 days before it was scheduled, and that was back on October 8th. UK anti-doping, the British Boxing Board of Control, and WBC World Boxing Body are still investigating Benn, who insists he is innocent and blames contamination for the positive results in the tests that were conducted by the Voluntary Anti-Doping Association, by the way, VADA. Despite the controversy and uncertainty over Benn's career, middleweight contender Eubank believes a fight with Benn can still happen. Can still happen. Absolutely anything can happen. This is boxing, Eubank told ESPN. I'm sure it will happen. When? I couldn't tell you that. But now it's a fight the whole nation wants to see, the entire boxing world wants to see. When he gets his stuff sorted out, we can look at making a fight happen, but it'll not be that crazy catchweight. He has lost all his privilege about me cutting weight. Fair enough. Speaking of Eubank and Smith, promoter Ben Shalom of Boxer has revealed that former world champion Kell Brook is looking to return to the ring, and he's interested in facing the winner of the Eubank Jr. versus Smith clash. Eubank will collide with Smith in middleweight this coming Saturday, as I've said earlier, in Manchester. But Brook saw action last February when he picked up a stoppage win over career rival Amir Khan. Later in the year, the Sheffield boxer would announce his retirement from the sport. According, however, to Shalom, Brook will be ringside this weekend for the Eubank-Smith fight. Quote, Kell will be there on Saturday. He's desperate for the winner of that fight. He wanted the Eubank fight after the Khan fight. That's what Shalom said. He feels he wants the winner of this fight, whether that's Liam Smith or whether it's Eubank Jr. There is a rematch clause, so if Liam does win, Eubank will have the option with that one. But there will be massive fights for whoever the winner is. Huge nights, and Kell Brook definitely wants to be one of them. So that division is certainly interesting at the moment. Speaking of interesting divisions, let's flip over to the heavyweight division for a sec. Former WBO heavyweight champion Joseph Parker plans to throw his weight around against Jack Massey. This will be on the undercard of this fight on Saturday night over in Manchester. Parker said, "I'm going to smash him." Because he believes Massey is an elite cruiserweight, but he'll be stepping up to heavyweight for the first time. "He's got big balls, I'll give him that," said Parker. "But there are divisions in boxing for a reason. I'm going to be the bigger man. I'm going to fight like the bigger man, back him up, push him back. I'm going to make him think about it. If he really wants to be in the heavyweight division." Wow. Parker, by the way, has had a chance to eyeball local hero Massey at an open workout at Manchester's Trafford Centre on Wednesday. So he's looking forward to that fight for sure. Speaking of the WBC has ordered the Babak Rosansky bridgerweight belt. With the WBC bridgerweight champion Oscar Rivas out of action indefinitely with a detached retina, the WBC Board of Governors have designated him as champion in recess and voted in favor of the following resolution to immediately address the status of the bridgerweight division, which I can say no one's a big fan of. Anyway, to order number 1 Alan Babak versus number 3 Lukic Ruzansky to fight for the vacant title with a 50-50 split, and the winner committed to comply with 2 mandatories. The first mandatory against the winner of the final elimination between Riyad Meni versus Kevin Larina. To order number 2 Riyad Meni versus Kevin Larina, number 4, as I said, to fight an elimination fight with a 50-50 split, and the winner fighting versus the new champion with a 60-40 split in favor of the champion. Whoa, that is complicated, I gotta say. But anyway, it looks like there's going to be some fighting at the so-called bridgerweight division. And by the way, if you're interested, the WBC starts a free negotiation period for both fights. And if no agreement is reached, a purse offer will be held in Mexico City on Tuesday, January 31st. Moving along, we haven't gone here often, but let's go here today. Let's go down to the Philippines. Milan Malindo hopes to find success in a new weight class. Malindo is now campaigning at featherweight. He was victorious in his last bout on January 11th, defeating Chawat Buat Rathok by unanimous decision at the Sports Complex in his hometown of Cebu City in the Philippines. Scores were 98-92, 98-92, and 97-93 for Malindo, who improved his record to 39-4 with 14 knockouts. The 34-year-old has now won his last 2 fights. After failed attempts to win a world title belt at flyweight and junior flyweight, Malindo finally won a world title belt, the IBF World Junior Flyweight title, by stopping Japan's Akira Yagashi in May of 2017. And Malindo would make a successful defense of the IBF by defeating Heki Butler by split decision less than 4 months later. But Malindo would lose the IBF world title in his next fight in December 2017, dropping a unanimous decision to Ryuichi Taguchi. Malindo would then go through a rough 2-fight stretch in 2018-2019, losing by knockout to then WBC World Junior Flyweight title holder Kenshiro Teraji, and then unbeaten flyweight prospect Junto Nakatani. It's interesting to note the number of different Japanese contenders that are out there that we barely mention here on Talking Fight. And I suppose we should start looking for a Japanese reporter, someone who can actually provide coverage of the fight scene over in Japan. Anyway, let's continue with the story. Prior to the win over Buat Rathok, Malindo previously fought on April 22nd, stopping Kryson Omanyamo in the 6th round. He dropped a tie, and his record is now 38-8, 25 knockouts though. But the 30-year-old has lost 3 of his last 4 bouts. Also on a card promoted by John Jukwa, junior welterweight prospect Carlo Baccaro has improved to 10-0, 6 knockouts by defeating Ryan Simona by unanimous decision. This was all taking place in Cebu City, apparently. So a little bit of a confusing story for us, but nonetheless, it looks like this chap Milan Malindo is now campaigning at featherweight. That's all we need to know. Alrighty, and on a final note, somewhat of a surprise, but it came as a kind of a blockbuster news item yesterday. So this is a bit late coming to you, good boxing fans out there. Unbeaten light heavyweight Edgar Berlanga, who's 20-0, 16 knockouts, is now a free agent. He and Top Rank have mutually decided to terminate their promotional deal. Berlanga opened his career with 16 straight first-round knockouts, but has now gone the distance on 4 straight occasions. I might add, he recently served a 6-month suspension for biting his most recent opponent. So we'll see what happens to Edgar Berlanga, and I'm sure Bob Arum really doesn't care. Alrighty, let's move along. I see that concludes my show. We're done. Thank you for joining me here on Boxing News Today. I appreciate it. Remember to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell. We see you later on at 4 p.m. for Knuckle Up with Mike Orr and Cedric Benn, not Conor Benn. And yeah, thank you. See you then.